then blamed them for the damage it caused. Ronaldo Singh says his tenants let mold grow, so he's keeping their security deposit.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Lewis, you are suing your former landlord, Mr. Singh, for $3,000. That's the amount of your security deposit that he refuses to return, correct?
Correct.
What's going on?
Well, Your Honor, we moved into the apartment 2 years ago. Multiple problems throughout the 2 years that we were living there. The last 6 months, there was a leak. He blamed it on us. It wasn't our fault, and he's withholding our security deposit. We deserve that money back.
Okay, there was a leak. Where was the leak?
Well, it started off the leak being in our garage. That was 6 months before we left the place. I noticed there was a giant water puddle in the garage, but the thing that he's actually withholding our deposit for is the shower, which is nowhere near the garage.
All right, well, let's talk about 6 months earlier. So you call him and you alert him, or you text him and you tell him there's a leak in the garage?
I do. I actually have that in evidence.
Okay, I don't think you deny that, right? Like, they did alert, and then did he send anybody to look into that?
Yes, he did. And I only knew that because the maintenance guy had to come to our place as well to check for leaks.
Okay.
And then we heard nothing about it. So we assumed there wasn't a leak. We assumed there was no problem because we just heard nothing.
Okay. Did you send somebody to go take a look at that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you send a handyman or a plumber?
Yes, my trusted handyman that handles all my
problems. And then the handyman went over, and what did he tell you it was?
Well, he found out, he suspected initially that it was from the sprinklers coming from the neighbors, because the neighbor's sprinkler runs kind of high. It tends to overflow sometimes into our property, but it has never done that. It's never gone into the garage.
Plus, also, you would see a trail as opposed to just a big puddle in the center, so I'm not sure that his conclusions are particularly trustworthy. So did you ever send a plumber or no?
No, Your Honor, we didn't. The handyman basically looked at all the plumbing and determined there was no problem, there was no leak in the.
And how does he do that without ripping open? Like, you know, to really know, I mean, looked at all the plumbing. You can't really, he doesn't have x-ray vision. How does he know that?
No, Your Honor, the pipes are exposed, so they don't necessarily have to strip
the pipes are exposed in the garage?
Yes.
Oh, well, then he doesn't need x-ray vision.
No.
He just needs vision. Okay, so he looks at the pipes and everything's fine, and his guess is it's the sprinkler system from the neighbors.
Yes, Your Honor, but then again, the problem didn't really reoccur, so we kind of figured it was one and done.
So now, you folks are moving out, you give adequate notice, there's no issue on that, and then you leave the place, and how did you leave the place?
Pristine.
Okay, do you have any pictures of how you left the place?
We do.
Okay, that's always a very, very good idea. Whenever you move into a place, you take very good close-up pictures of everything wrong with the place, even if you don't want it fixed, just so that you don't get blamed for it.
Your Honor, I will just add, though, that 2 days before we moved out, I did text the landlord again because I had been in the bathroom and I was packing things up ready for us to move, and I moved the shower mat, and there was another puddle.
Underneath the shower mat?
Underneath the mat. And
okay, but what is the mat? Hold on one second. Let's back up. All right, so this is how long before you move out?
This was 2 days before we left.
Okay, and so you move the shower mat and you find what underneath?
Water.
Water.
How much water?
It was
2 feet.
Yeah.
You know.
It was covered by the mat.
You don't have a picture of it, do you?
We do not.
All right. So you call him and you tell him, hey, water's collecting here?
We texted him.
I texted him and I have
Let me see that text. I do want to see that.
We have the text from the garage and we have the text as well.
The garage, I don't need to. You can go ahead. That's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. From the bathroom.
And I will just add that neither of us showered that day, so we did not cause that puddle. It was there.
Well, how did it happen?
Well, my belief is that there's leaking in the pipes.
All right, so is it a $3,000 security deposit?
Yes.
All right, let me hear from you, Mr. Singh, on why you feel you have the right to keep the security deposit.
Well, Your Honor, I brought in specialists to look at the problem. We noticed that there was moisture and humidity on the surface. And once we used our moisture meters, and we found that there was water seepage inside the floor and inside the wall, to the extent that there was mold damage. So we had to basically pull out all the wood and the tile and repaint everything, do all the mold remediation, and all in all, it set me back.
I live in Miami, Florida. I know exactly what you're talking about, because it just happens like without leaks. to us. You know, I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever had to call a repair person in your life that someone else didn't need to call? Because sometimes it takes 3 days to get them there.
And later,
And I asked her, I said, well, I don't know why you're letting me go. It doesn't really make any sense. I fully went through hair and makeup. And she said, well, you know, I didn't realize you were a drug addict.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring Leon, we're back with a dispute between Daniel and Kendra Lewis and their former landlord, Ronaldo Singh, over a withheld security deposit.
So I know it's a big endeavor, but what I guess what I'm asking you is, how is it something you pin on them? Why is it their fault?
Because we've eliminated all other causes, Your Honor.
So okay, so how did they cause it?
Well, our theory is that they probably left the shower curtain partially open, or I don't know how open, but
Well, I don't know why you're laughing. People do that all the time. I'm not sure why you're laughing, because people do that all the time, and water collects.
Your Honor,
How long have you owned this place?
I've owned this place for close to 9 years now.
So how do you know who committed the negligence?
Because every time we rent it out, we prepare the...
Right, but you don't look into the subfloor.
Well,
the subfloor is the last thing, you know, that's when you rip up the floor, is when you see this. So you don't know how long it's been building up, do you?
Unless we sense there's some kind of moisture on the surface.
Right, which didn't happen in the 9 years because you never did a...
I mean, we have the same people look at it. These are experts. They do all our apartments.
No, I know. And when they sensed it was only after they left. But it's not like you went around having sensor meters after every tenant or anything like that. We don't know when this moisture developed.
So, Your Honor...
what relationship is this bathroom to the garage? Is it right on top?
This is exactly. This is right directly above it.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Many of other tenants in our building also have had so many complaints about him as well. We're not the
About
only
him as a
ones.
human or about leaks?
No, about him being an absentee landlord.
What do you mean by absentee?
Well, in our instance, there's been issues that we've reported that have taken him up to a week to send someone for, and that's only because I had to text him multiple times, which is really annoying because I have work and I have things I need to be doing, and he doesn't reply unless I double text him.
Oh, pardon me, Your Honor. That is not true. I mean, I would like to see evidence to that effect.
Do you have any evidence to that effect, that he ignores your messages?
No,
I mean,
but we do have the log that shows the time between reporting it and the time between
when you say a
actions.
log, what do you mean?
A maintenance log.
Oh, let's see that.
And the
I do
maintenance
wanna see-
log will
But where do you get that? Like, what's that? What is that?
well, that is when we...
Oh, those are your notes, though, right?
Yes.
So the log will reflect, Your Honor, that we're very prompt with our service.
The log will absolutely not reflect that you're prompt.
Okay, well, hold on one second. First of all, do not talk to him. 11:10, garbage disposal and kitchen not working, completed 11:11. That seems pretty prompt. 12:1, completed 12:6. Okay, that's 5 days, but, you know, sometimes you can't get somebody to go out. 2:10, completed 2:11. 6:3, completed 6:10. Okay, 7 days. Microwave door latch broken. That's not exactly a matter of national security. Bathtub not draining properly. Complaint is January 14th. Completed January 17th. I'm not seeing what you're saying.
Okay, so the problem is, Your Honor, is that would...
I mean, it's like you've written notes next to it. It took him 3 days. It took him 3 days.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever had to call a repair person in your
Yes.
life that someone else didn't need to call? Because sometimes it takes 3 days to get them there.
Absolutely, and that would be a completely reasonable amount of time if he actually called repair people.
How do you know when he called them? If the people were like, okay, this is nonsense, okay? Like, if you report something and it's completed in 3 days, that is not a huge lag time. The only one that's 7 days is the microwave door latch, which truly is not that big a deal. So maybe he didn't treat that one with the same, you know, angst as you did. But I'm still trying to figure out, rather than, you know, tell me how everybody hates him and he's a terrible person, I'm trying to get to the legal part of this, which is, how do you prove it's their fault? Because when a plaintiff comes to court, they always have the burden of proof. Okay? They have the burden of proving their case. By a preponderance of the evidence, it's more likely than not that it's how they say it goes. But when your defense is, I'm not going to give you your security deposit back that I'm supposed to give to you because you caused damage, that burden shifts to you. It's now your turn to prove to me that it is more likely than not them who created that kind of damage. How on earth are you going to do that when, you know, go ahead. Yeah, I know there is damage. Is that how you're going to do it?
No.
Go ahead and show me what you got.
So I have material evidence, Your Honor. This is the price. These are the costs that I incurred.
Yes, you've absolutely proven beyond a reasonable doubt, which is not even your burden. You have proven beyond all doubt in the sky that it cost that. Here's my question. How are you pinning it on them? How is it that you are going to prove that it was their negligence and not just the normal wear and tear or negligence of prior tenants? Because the mold is the only one that knows, and guess what? The mold's not testifying, right? We can't tell from looking at it when it developed. That's the bottom line. So I'm going to order you to return the security deposit. There is no other reason to withhold it but the subfloor issue, right? Like, because everything else was pristine. All right. Verdict for the plaintiff, $3,000.
All rise.
Judge Millian has ruled in favor of the co-plaintiffs. The defendant owes $3,000.
Any last remarks?
Liars never win.
I feel that justice didn't go my way, but hey, that's how it is sometimes.
Coming up.
I went through hair and makeup completely, and after about 30 minutes, her assistant came over to me. She told me that I was no longer needed for the day and I could go ahead and leave.
With Judge Millian, Diana St. James claims she was sent home from a modeling job after she was falsely accused of having a drug problem. Petra Fallow says she knows an addict when she sees one and doesn't want her company to be poorly represented.
Ms. St. James, you are suing Ms. Fallow for $2,500 because she employed you to do a job and then sent you home. Tell me what happened.
So I was hired as a model to work for Miss Fallow.
And what were you going to be modeling?
I was going to be modeling activewear.
Okay.
And when I got to the set, I fully got dressed in a sports bra and biker shorts. And I went through hair and makeup completely. And after about 30 minutes, her assistant came over to me and she told me that I was no longer needed for the day and I could go ahead and leave. They didn't tell me why, but I have type 1 diabetes, which is a chronic illness, and I have like needle marks from my insulin, which I need every day to survive. And so I was super shocked when they told me to leave.
Okay, so did you ever find out why they told you to leave?
Well, when I left, she was standing outside smoking a cigarette, and something came over me. I went up to her and I asked her, I said, well, I don't know why you're letting me go. It doesn't really make any sense. I fully went through hair and makeup. And she said, well, you know, I didn't realize you were a drug addict.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. I'm going to give you the floor in a moment. And I didn't realize you were a drug addict. And what did you say to her?
I was shocked. I didn't even know what to say. I was like, I didn't know what she was talking about. And then I was like, oh my God. Like,
but didn't you know that she was talking about the track marks?
Well, after she pointed at my legs and my arms.
So did you tell her I'm a diabetic?
I didn't know what to say. It really like struck me because I have dealt with this since I was 6 years old. And I've always felt like I was different because of it.
Coming up.
Did you think she was a drug addict?
I don't know what she does in her private time, but I mean, it looked like a drug addict to me from what I've seen.
She called me a drug addict.
Closed cap Judge Millian. We're back with the case of Diana St. James, who brought Petra Fallow to court for firing her after falsely accusing her of using drugs.
Did you say to her, I'm a diabetic, not a drug addict?
No. Not there, but
Not
I emailed her afterwards.
And told her what?
I told her, I'm a type 1 diabetic. It is a chronic illness. I need to inject myself with insulin every day to survive, to maintain my blood sugar.
The markings are a result of medical devices and regular insulin injections that are essential for managing my diabetes. I am more than willing to provide any additional information or documentation from my healthcare provider. Did you happen to bring any of that to court today?
I do not have that, but I have a photo of the markings if you want to see it.
Yeah, let me see them.
Yeah.
All right, so let me talk to you, Ms. Fallow. Why did you dismiss her?
Because, okay, I have a contract, which I could also let you see if you wanted to, that says, it says the model must not have any markings or signs of drug use on their body.
And it's
Hold on
not
one second. Wait a second. Now it's her turn. Did you think she was a drug addict?
I don't know what she does in her private time, but I mean, it looked like a drug addict to me from what I've seen.
She
of drug
called
addicts.
me a drug addict.
Did you call her a drug addict?
Yeah, she did when we were
I don't
outside.
recall saying you were a drug addict.
It became an issue because you saw marks on her leg. Let's take a look at the picture. Is this a knee that I'm looking at?
It's
yes,
my
right?
thigh.
Your thigh,
Yeah.
okay.
It looked worse than that.
Was there anything about her behavior at that session beforehand, because she had already been exposed to the makeup artist and everybody else, where you thought she was on drugs at the moment or anything?
I have to tell you that, like, my brother, who died in 2015, was a drug addict, and he
I'm
was.
sorry, my dear.
Yeah. He was addicted to heroin, so I know what it looks like, and it was like viscerally in my stomach, I was like, this is a drug addict, so that's...
Judge Million's verdict when justice for the people returns. Promotional consideration.
Oh, what if you're wrong and she's a diabetic? Then what? Do you owe her the money because you had a sensitive trigger for obvious reasons? After hiring her, she spends the time there. How are you not going to pay her the money you owe her? You want to dismiss her because you're jumping to the conclusion. That's fine. Go ahead. But you better have some evidence of it to back it up, because she's showing me evidence of very tiny markings. I know what they look like too. I get it. I understand. I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in this case in the amount of the $2,500. I understand that you didn't want her there, but you don't get to not want her there over something that isn't what you thought it was. And you have no evidence that it's that.
What about the contract?
What about the contract?
That just says no visible markings.
Right, but this is so barely visible. Verdict for the plaintiff, $2,500.
Judge Million has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $2,500. Martin Levy claims his girlfriend asked him for money for a prenatal exam, but then used the cash to end an unplanned pregnancy. Randy Taylor says she's a college student who wasn't ready to start a family with her ex.
All right, Mr. Levy, you are suing Ms. Taylor for $950 that you want returned to you because she used it to terminate a pregnancy.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, how long did you folks date?
We were dating for 3 years, Your Honor.
All right, and how did you find out that she was pregnant?
She told me in person. She called me first, and then we had a conversation at my apartment later.
Okay, and were you happy about the news?
I was very happy about the news, yes.
Was she happy about the news?
She seemed happy at first, but she's always kind of been unsure about what she wants, both in school and with our relationship and in life. But she seemed excited about the opportunity to start a family at the time.
Your Honor, I am in the middle of college. I told him multiple times I was not ready for a family, and he is making it seem like I did this out of the blue, but this was not something that was completely out of the blue.
Hold on one second. How old are you?
I'm 21.
How old are you?
I am 26.
Okay. This wasn't planned, obviously.
No.
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, so were you two living together?
No, not at the time.
All right, did he give you money?
Yeah, I mean, throughout our relationship, he would give me some cash. He knew when my car was broken down, and he helped pay for the repairs. And then the day of the abortion, I told him that I wanted to get a checkup with my doctor, and that's also the same time that I ended up finding out about endometriosis that was dormant in my system, and was told that pregnancy could trigger that. And that's a big part of why I decided to go ahead and terminate our child.
Okay.
Your Honor,
can I just ask you, we'll talk about the legalities of it in a second, but was this a good relationship?
Well, it was good for the most part, but after maybe 2 years or so, we were having some conflicts. There was some jealousy. I had a good guy friend, and there were a few things that were already causing me to question our relationship. And I think really one of the moments that opened my eyes was having this pregnancy, and then just realizing that I wasn't ready to have a kid or start a family with him. And
well, also you're 21. I mean,
yeah,
you are a kid.
Yeah, I'm a junior in college. I can't afford.
So, I mean, I'm trying to envision being in your shoes. And if I cared about somebody, I suppose I would have told them what my plan was. You don't owe him a legal duty to do it. I'm just wondering, the relationship couldn't have been that good if it didn't even occur to you to talk to him, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at first, when I got the news, I wanted to still try to give it a shot. I didn't decide right away that I was going to terminate, but once I found out
How did these, tell me about the 950. How did that 950 go from there to there? What were the circumstances?
Well, I had spoken with my mom, who had also had endometriosis and various health-related conditions with her pregnancy, like high blood pressure. And by her advice, I decided to schedule a doctor appointment.
I mean, no matter what, you should schedule a doctor appointment. There's a human in you.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
And because I knew...
But my question is, how did you get the $950? I want to understand...
Your Honor.
I'm not talking to you yet. The circumstances of how that money came from there to there.
So I knew that I might have the possibility of an abortion, so I figured out the cost would be at the max $950. And so I had told him when I was getting my wellness check that it would be most likely $950 or potentially $950.
But in your mind, you knew that you were going to have an abortion.
Well, at the time, I didn't know.
Well, that's the thing you quoted. That was the price you got as opposed to a wellness check price. That's what you just said?
So the actual abortion was $600. I didn't think that I would definitely be spending that. I just wanted to be prepared just in case, because I don't have the extra $600.
You knew going into it that's how much it would cost, and you still took my money for it.
Don't talk to her directly, but talk to me.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I know there's things that, you know, often happen in relationships, but the man doesn't have to pay for the woman's abortion. That's not how it works. So he's saying you got him to pay for the abortion by lying to him and telling him it was a wellness check.
And later,
our entire relationship, I'd always been more than happy to help her financially. That was never an issue, but she knew going into this situation that I would not be open to paying for an abortion, and she knew about the price of the abortion
Just a
prior.
second, don't interrupt him. I didn't let him interrupt you. I don't want you to interrupt him. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry.
Million. We're back with a case of Martin Levy, who brought his ex-girlfriend Randy Taylor to court after she lied about why she needed money.
So when she asks you for the money, and what does she say?
She asked me for the money to go get a wellness check, which I had already been supplying her funds for medical bills, for school bills, to fix her car. Throughout our entire relationship, I had always been more than happy to help her financially. That was never an issue, but she knew going into this situation that I would not be open to paying for an abortion, and she knew about the price of the abortion
Just a
prior.
second, don't interrupt him. I didn't let him interrupt you. I don't want you to interrupt him. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
She knew going into this wellness check that she wanted an abortion. She had already talked to her mother about it. She knew about the health conditions that she also didn't tell me about going into this wellness check. At no point was she upfront with me about why she was going, and she asked me to not go with her, but she still took my money and did something that she
You're mad
knew
that
I
she
wouldn't.
terminated the pregnancy.
Yes, Your Honor.
You wanted to have a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have become painfully aware that it's her body and her choice.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. So I'm sorry for what I know you're grieving for. Obviously, you are a young man and there is so much ahead for you. It is absolutely her choice. She doesn't need your permission or your input. But what we have here is a different issue than whether or not you can proceed with making decisions on your own body on your own. What we have is his lawsuit isn't about that, maybe about that in his heart, because just like you don't need his permission, he also doesn't have to pay for your abortion. I know there's things that often happen in relationships, but the man doesn't have to pay for the woman's abortion. That's not how it works. So he's saying you got him to pay for the abortion by lying to him and telling him it was a wellness check when you had actually researched it beforehand and figured out how much it cost and then had him fork over the money because you didn't want to pay for your own abortion.
Well, Your Honor, I did only go in with the intention of getting the wellness check. I was not decided on that.
That's not what you told me a minute ago. That's what I thought too when I read your complaint, your answer to the complaint. But a second ago, you told me, I called and found out how much an abortion cost, and then I asked him for more than that, and then I don't know.
Yeah, well, the news about the endometriosis is really what put it over the edge.
Well, the irony is that you have not been diagnosed with endometriosis. Correct?
Well, I was told that I most likely have a dormant version that my mom had also.
In your family, okay. The irony is that there's a lot of sources, because I've read up on this, that say that pregnancy cures endometriosis. And the greater irony is that there's no reason we have to talk about this, because you don't need a reason. It's your body. It's your body. You can decide what you're going to do. You don't need a reason. It's not, did you do the right thing? Are you alive? It's not anything about that. It's not, did you trick him? Did you lie to? It doesn't matter. It's your body, honey. You can do what you need to do. It's your body. Now, having said that, if you tell a guy, I need $1,000 for X, and then you do Y, that part's not okay. That's the contracts part.
Your Honor, I had told him multiple times that I was not ready to start a family.
No, I have no problem with that. And so if you tell him, I'm going to have an abortion, I want you to fork up $1,000, what would he have said?
Well, I
think you know what he would have said.
I mean,
You know what he would have said.
I do think that he might not have been for it, but I thought maybe once he found out about the health aspect that
Well, then
he would
why didn't you pick up a phone and talk to him?
Well,
if that's the case.
I mean, this was all a very tough decision. I made it the day of.
If you went in for a wellness check, how was somebody around to do an abortion like that? Like just like, oh, well, yeah, you know, like, in other words, I think you went in to get an abortion, which is, you're right. But I think that you got the money under circumstances that were untruthful. And if it's his money, and you know, and I don't think you thought he would pay for it if you told him what you went in there for. Because you can't tell him, I want money for X, and then use it for Y. The understanding is you're going to use it for X. Otherwise, you need to pay for your own money, right?
Well, the problem is I'm working right now. I am a college student, and again, like you were saying, it's my body. I didn't think
it is. You have an absolute right to do what you want with your body, just not with his money. With his money, you have to follow the rules and the laws. You see?
Yeah,
so no one's suggesting that you couldn't do what you did. You absolutely could do what you did without consulting him or checking with him, getting his permission, or even telling him about it. That's fine, except that's not what this case is about. What this case is about is a contracts case. It's you asking him for money to do one thing, but doing another with that money. I'm sorry. It's something that he doesn't have to pay for. He doesn't get a say in it, but he doesn't have to pay for it. My verdict is for the plaintiff in the amount of the $950.
All rise.
Judge Millian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $950.
I'm very happy that I got my money at the end of the day. I think what she did was wrong.
I feel like he was doing this whole lawsuit just out of being vindictive. I think he was just upset because of the breakup.
Coming up.
I didn't see the first one, but half the company has it on their cell phone.
Right.
So by the time she came up and started singing to me, everyone was just laughing at me, and it was horrible.
Seriously?
Yes.
Why can't you just let her sing the singing telegram and say thank you to your girlfriend? Why can't you just do that?
It wasn't about...
Yeah, it was. It was.
Closed captioning provided with Judge Millian. Ronna Jones claims she tried to surprise her boyfriend with a singing telegram, but the singer sang to the wrong man. Madeline Gaines says she tried to fix her mistake, but was rudely told to leave.
Ms. Jones, you are suing Ms. Gaines for $250 that you want returned to you because, according to you, she breached the contract. You hired her to do what?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. I hired her to be a singing telegram to help me celebrate my boyfriend's birthday.
Okay, and how did you find out about her services?
So my boyfriend and I have been together about 3 years now. So when we first started dating, he told me that his family never really celebrated his birthday, and I thought that's horrible. So I've always taken
outing the family. Okay. I hope they like you. Go ahead.
Well, I always thought it would be really special for us to do something, you know, to make his birthday like a bigger deal. And this year, he let me know that we weren't going to be able to spend it together because he had to work late on his birthday. So I was really upset, and I went on the internet, I did a little bit of research, and that is what led me to Miss Gaines' website. I found out that she did singing telegrams, original songs. She would spend a little bit of time with the client, see, you know, what my boyfriend would be like, and then write a song for him. And I thought, that's perfect. Owen would love that.
But she doesn't meet with him beforehand, right? Because it's supposed to be a surprise.
No.
So she talks to you, and then you end up writing the lyrics to a song. Do you write the music too, or you?
Correct. Yes, I arrange and write 3-minute songs, originals. So everything is mine, and I work with my client beforehand to just kind of get to know them, know the person, the event, their interests, and I personalize it. I make sure I get her approval always.
Are you ready to sing something to me? Just kidding.
Hey,
if I gave you a few minutes,
yes.
you would. Okay. All right. So, what happens in this case that you feel you're entitled to get the $250 back?
So before she arrived at my boyfriend's workplace, I told her a little bit about Owen, what floor he was on, and what time she needed to be there. She arrived at his workplace and did not sing to my boyfriend. She sang to another person named Owen Williams.
Another person named Owen Williams?
Correct.
Coming up.
I went to the receptionist and I asked for Owen Williams. And
the receptionist did not say which one?
No.
The receptionist said right over there.
Closed captioning provide justice for the people with Judge Millian. We're back with a dispute between Brana Jones and Madeline Gaines over the failed delivery of a singing telegram.
So what happened?
So I show up 12:30 p.m., just like we had planned, to Owen Williams' office. And just to make sure, I went to the receptionist and I asked for Owen Williams. And
the receptionist did not say which one?
No.
The receptionist said right over there.
Yeah.
So then what did you do?
I find Owen Williams and I sing him happy birthday.
Okay.
And he lets me perform the entire 3-minute song. There's maybe like 25, 30 people that gather around.
And somebody taped it, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Do we have the tape? Because I'd love to see it.
I do, Your Honor. I actually gave it to the bailiff before.
Okay. Can we get that up there?
Oh, you my soulmate, God's sake, and please don't prove me wrong. Don't you really like this song? Happy birthday, Owen Williams.
It's not my birthday.
Did he say there's another Owen Williams?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you try to go sing to the correct Owen Williams?
I found Owen
step
Williams.
on up. It's your time to shine, honey.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. So and did you go over there and try to sing to that Owen Williams?
I made sure I was directed to the right Owen Williams. I needed to get that song.
And then did you do your song?
I started singing it. I did start, and he told me to stop about 30 seconds in.
All right, let me hear from you. So when do you first hear that there's a singing telegram coming your way?
So everyone knew, and I didn't see the first one, but by the time she came up and started singing to me, everyone was just laughing at me, and it was horrible.
Seriously?
Yes.
Why can't you just let her sing the singing telegram and say thank you to your girlfriend? Why can't you just do that?
Judge Millian's verdict when justice for the people returns. Promotional consideration provided.
Instead of going to court and creating a lawsuit, Ms. Jones, over something that was an honest mistake, oh, nay, I can't. You know, it's too embarrassing because it already happened downstairs. So what?
She humiliated him, Your Honor.
Really? Well, I suggest you guys get a spine somewhere at the spine store because that's just silly.
He's not even the original Office Owen anymore.
Owen was a temp.
You're Owen too? And
Yeah.
you can't take that?
It's not
You
good.
need some real adversity in your life. Honestly, but I don't know why you're looking at it. You need some real adversity in your life too. This is nonsense, okay? It's an honest mistake on her part. And then she tried to make it good. It's not like she said, well, tough, I sang one, so I'm leaving. She didn't do that. She went to look for your boyfriend, and then what? He can't handle a second song? Nonsense. Verdict for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Millian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed. Stella Mills claims she asked a friend to be the MC at her living funeral, but he turned the memorial into a roast. Anton Dominguez says the plaintiff's guests were clearly bored, so he tried to liven it up.
Ms. Mills, you are suing Mr. Dominguez for $3,550 that you spent On a living funeral, because according to you, he ruined it.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is a living funeral?
A living funeral is a funeral that's done while the person is still alive.
In order to, for what? For you
It's to celebrate life with your friends and your family and all loved ones.
But everybody pretends you're dead during it?
Yes.
So you conduct it as though it were a real funeral?
Yes.
So this thing cost you $3,550?
Yes, it did.
And you had how many people attending?
60.
How many?
60.
60?
Yes.
Okay. I presume you did the program and figured out what you wanted and who you wanted speaking?
I did everything. I rented a casket.
You rented a casket?
Yes.
Is that normally done in a living?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I rented a casket. I paid for all the flowers. I had slideshow. I had the whole thing and an MC.
And who was your MC? Mr. Dominguez.
Mr. Dominguez.
How did you end up picking Mr. Dominguez to be your MC?
Mr. Dominguez and I have known each other for 10 years.
Okay.
We're very good friends. We work together.
So why did you pick him?
Because he has a really good soul and a good heart. And I heard him speak at his father's funeral.
Okay.
And it was very, very deep.
So
and
you thought he
wonderful.
was a good public speaker?
Absolutely.
And so you pick him to do that, and then what? Do you give him a script or do you let him go with it?
I sent him a text with who I wanted him to talk about.
Okay. But you didn't like write chapter, line, and verse on it, right?
No,
because you wanted him to use his talents.
I wanted him to use his talents and to take it seriously.
I mean, I'm assuming he has talents, right? Because you picked him.
Yes, he does, and he did.
Not, Your Honor.
Well, that remains to be seen. I'll let you know. Hold on a second.
Thank you.
All right. So what happened? What went wrong that you ended up suing him?
It started off where I wanted him to say specific things about specific people. To be serious.
Such as?
One of my friends, Michelle, I wanted him to say, for my benefit, for me, that I loved the way that she curled my hair and the great chats and girl gossip that we had over the years.
Okay.
That's for one.
Okay,
But
what did he say instead?
He turned it into, she was as dumb as a doornail and dull as could be, and it turned into making jokes.
Wait, he said, wait, hold on one second. I'll be with you in a second. You can't talk over her. What did he say instead of, I love how you curl my hair? What did he say?
He said it was ridiculous. She was stupid and dumb.
Who was stupid?
Oh, Michelle, my friend that I was
Michelle was stupid and dumb?
Yes.
And loose. I said loose.
Did you really?
Yes.
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 Do you know
loose.
Michelle? Hold on.
I know she's friends of ours, Your Honor.
Okay.
And everybody knows she's very loose. She brags about it on social media.
Okay. So you made some jokes about Michelle. Was Michelle offended?
No, Michelle loved it.
She laughed?
She laughed and she...
Okay. Did you say the thing she asked you to say, which is, I like how she curled my hair?
I did say that.
And then
I said
what else did you say?
That she's a little loose. And everybody laughed, everybody enjoyed it, and it was just a fun time because we saw a 20-minute video, no offense, or a slideshow, Your Honor. Brutal, let's be honest.
It was my life.
Okay, hold on. Why do you say it was brutal?
Because it took her, it was like 40 pictures before she got to age 1. Everyone...
It's my life.
Hold on. Go ahead.
And then, yes, Your Honor. And then people were sitting here looking at their watches, and she was like, she's alive. And
I know, but you knew that before you took on this job. I mean, I get the impression that you think this is sort of self-aggrandizing and silly.
Thank you.
Okay. But I didn't say that I thought that. I said I get the impression that you think that. Perhaps I might think that too, but we're all free people, and we can, if she wants to spend her money that way and people want to attend and you are asked to speak, aren't you supposed to be going with the flow of this thing, however silly you may think it is?
Yes, Your Honor.
So
hold on a second, Miss Mills, hold on. I'm talking to Mr. Dominguez now. Go.
So after the video, then I read what she said, and to punch it up a bit, because the truth is a lot of people were hoping they were at a real funeral, I can tell you that.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I opened the casket, I said, and there's, oh no, Stella's not there, because she's sitting in the first row.
Okay.
And then she got offended.
And the house came down?
More or less.
And later.
All right, so now you have some news, and it's news you want to keep private.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing to do is tell her.
Yes. No.
Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Stella Mills, who blames Anton Dominguez for making a mockery of her living funeral.
I saw people look at their watches, and so I said, you know, Michelle, she curled her hair, and Michelle's sitting there, and then I said, Michelle, we all know how loose Michelle is. Got a few chuckles, not a big, didn't really, land the way I expected it to, but that's okay. People laughed, and then we mentioned her friend was the other, Steven. Steven is the one you hooked up with that night. She kept saying the night before, she brags about Steven's coffee, how great the coffee. She's having coffee at 5 a.m. They're in their pajamas or whatever. That wasn't that funny. But the third one was a casket.
Where's the funny one? Go ahead.
I don't know. I opened the casket. I said, and there's, oh no, Stella's not there because she's sitting in the first row.
Okay.
And then she got offended.
And the house came down?
More or less.
That's when people chuckle.
Yeah.
All right. Now, were you looking at her face to see how she was reacting to this stuff?
I did not until when she got up and she
took the microphone out of your hands?
Pretty much.
Is that how it worked?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you almost done or not really?
We were having fun. We were getting ready to have cake and so forth. She got up and she upset and she stormed off.
What happens in a living funeral? Like once the funeral part is over and the talking is over, then what? Because you're literally sitting there. You're not watching it on a video.
No.
You're enjoying it. So people know what was happening afterwards.
Had it been done properly and to the tone that it was supposed to be done in, not a roast, because he roasted me.
Well, how long have you known him?
10 years.
Okay, I've known him 10 minutes, and I know what he was going to do when he got up there. And that must be why you asked him to do it, to punch it up a little. Why would you think that he was going to sit there and pretend he was crying about your death? Because you're very much alive.
Because when I saw him do his father's...
Yeah, but his dad was dead. By the way, sorry for your loss. Sure. But I mean, his dad was actually dead.
Yes.
So it...
Well, can I give you a little backstory?
How much more backstory do I need for this one?
Just to the reason why this happened.
Yeah?
Because I was in a very severe car accident a few years ago where I was hit by a drunk driver.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I realized at that time that life is short. Okay, life is short.
I know, and I might have handled it differently. I might have thrown a huge party for myself. I might not have thrown a funeral.
Yes.
I might have thrown a party. We all have a different reaction to that. You are entitled to have whatever reaction you want, and if you wanted a living funeral, God bless you.
Yes.
What I guess I'm asking you is, if it didn't go exactly as you had planned, how does that then translate into a legal obligation on his part to pay for your living funeral?
Because he ruined it.
By what? By making a few jokes?
Jokes and roasting.
Did you ever tell him, listen, you have to play this totally straight? Well, you, who I've known for 10 years and I know are a joker.
Well, when I wrote him and texted him, I asked him to do this.
Can I see your text? Do you have your text with you?
Yes,
Let me see him.
And
were you playing it by ear, Mr. Dominguez, in terms of reading the crowd?
I would say so. I already had an idea to try to make it a celebration of your pretend death, because she's very much alive and she's wearing black, by the way. But that's which is nothing.
I did not even notice that. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
When she asked you, your actual response was, "I've got to say, it does sound a bit ridiculous, but I would be honored." So you agreed to do it.
Yes.
Then she said, "I can't believe you ruined my funeral. You shouldn't have made it into a joke. Now I'm the laughingstock of our friend group." You think that a joke he makes is what would make you the laughingstock of your friend group?
Yes.
Like what? Because he said what? Oh, she's not in there? That's something everybody knows. What?
He made fun of the slideshow all the way through it.
How did he make fun of the slideshow?
Every photo that came up, he would say, well, here we go. Here's another one of a baby. Here's another one where she's sitting here talking. Here's another one where she's laying on the beach. Here's another one. Here's another one.
Life is short, Your Honor, but that video, we went on and on.
And then...
But I mean, you're asked to do it. You're asked to be the MC. You should be playing along with whatever it is. And if you're not comfortable doing it, maybe don't do it. But your theory, Ms. Mills, that somehow he has to pay for your living funeral is not based in any concept under the law. You asked somebody to be an MC, and to some extent, you got what you paid for, which was you weren't paid, right?
No, ma'am.
Right. You got what you paid for. You got what you expected. You asked somebody who you know is a joker and whatever else and is an entertaining speaker to be the speaker because you thought it would go the way you had it in your head. But maybe that's on you and not on him if he ends up bending a little. And, I agree it doesn't sound like he was taking it as seriously as you would like to take it. I think you knew that because his answer to your text was, that sounds a bit ridiculous, but I would be honored. Sounds to me like you kind of took the risk that he would be himself because you know him, you've known him for 10 years. So, but even if he was out of control, which let's just go with your theory that whatever he said was inappropriate, shouldn't have said it and whatever else. How does that translate into a legal obligation to pay for your event just because you're disappointed? It doesn't. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
I can't believe what kind of person you
Stella,
are.
you have a great sense of humor. I can't believe you took it so serious. Our friendship will continue, I'm hoping.
Well, no, as far as I'm concerned, we're done.
Coming up.
A group of people I did not want to know my private affairs.
Okay, now this isn't the first time that she tells you, stop with the telling people my private stuff.
Closed captioning provided by The People with Judge Milian. Caroline Fields claims she suffered emotional harm after her friend sent an unwelcome pregnancy gift to her workplace. Mallory Stevens says the plaintiff had wanted a baby for years, so she wanted to celebrate the news.
Ms. Fields, you are suing Ms. Stevens for $4,580 because she revealed your pregnancy without permission? Tell me what happened.
She sent me a gift to my workplace, indirectly announcing my public affairs to the entire workplace about my pregnancy.
Okay, so tell me, let's backtrack. How are you two friends?
Okay, so we actually met in college. Our husbands, before they were our husbands, they were friends. Actually, she was so close to us, we invited them to our engagement party. During our engagement party, she posted pictures on social media before I even got a chance to publicly announce it myself.
That you had been engaged?
Yes. I even asked her to remove those photos, and she said I was being dramatic. That's not
Did
that
she
big of a
remove
deal.
them?
She did not, ma'am.
Okay. How did that affect your relationship with her when she refused to take down your engagement pictures?
I kind of forgave her,
Okay.
Because
she wasn't asking for forgiveness, right?
She
wouldn't
wasn't,
take
but
them
I
down.
cared about her.
Okay. All right. So now you have some news, and it's news you want to keep private.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing you do is tell her.
Yes. No. That's not true.
Yeah, well, kind of.
Okay,
But go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. So, actually, my husband and I invited close family and friends to announce our pregnancy, and the very next day, I got a gift at my work, a balloon.
But did you tell those people you can't tell anybody?
I did not tell them that they couldn't.
But you had a party to announce it.
Coming up.
She never revisited that subject, so I kind of thought it was fine.
Okay. So it turns out that it wasn't fine that you announced it to her work because she was upset at you after that.
Closed captioning provided. Michelle Obi claims the parent of one of her students falsely accused her of shoplifting, so she was forced to change schools. Curtis Alcott says he saw Ms. Obi steal a blouse, so he rightfully conducted a citizen's arrest.
Ms. Obi, you are suing Mr. Alcott for $5,000 for false arrest and ruining your reputation. What happened?
Mr. Alcott here accused me of stealing a blouse from the mall, which he doesn't even know for sure happened or not. And now, because of that, my teaching career has been ruined.
Well, tell me about it. Give me the details.
I was shopping one afternoon in a store in a local mall in our community.
And you have been teaching at a local school for how long?
For about 6 years. I teach middle school English, 8th grade.
Was he a parent at the school?
Yes, actually, Mr. Alcott is the parent of one of my former students.
Had you ever had a confrontation with Mr. Alcott before this, or?
I mean, not a confrontation per se, but I could tell that he had something against me. He kind of always looked at me weird whenever we were at school or any interactions during activities. He always kind of treated me differently than the other teachers.
Okay. All right, so you're at the store, and what happens?
I actually had my AirPods in at the time. I'm shopping, and I throw a blouse over my tote bag just so I can have my hands free while I'm looking through the rack. Mr. Alcott runs up on me, and he's saying something which I can't really hear at the time because my AirPods are in, so I'm scrambling to take them out and figure out what's going on. While that's happening, he's kind of like pushing me towards the front of the store near the cashier.
How is he pushing you?
He's just grabbed my arm.
He grabbed your arm?
Yes, he grabbed my arm, but I didn't even really think anything of it because I recognized him as a parent, so he's ushering me to the front of the store.
And what is he saying? Now that you've taken the AirPods out, what is he saying?
In that moment, I was so flustered, I wasn't really even able to process it. But once we get up there, I see the police are coming over right away. He's telling the cashier that I stole the blouse. He grabs the blouse from the top of my purse and slams it down on the counter. And the police start handcuffing me. And I'm so embarrassed because there's people in the store seeing this happen. People are walking by. It's a small community, Your Honor. So I'm a teacher there, and it's a very well-known school, so it's embarrassing.
Did the police arrest you?
They handcuffed me, and they escorted me out of the mall. Mr. Alcott was with us. He walked with us to the parking lot.
And then in the parking lot, what happened?
In the parking lot, they actually ended up releasing me because I had a chance to explain what happened and tell them that I wasn't stealing. I actually hadn't even tried to leave the store. I had the blouse draped over my bag, and he just ran up to me and accused me of stealing.
Right. I guess my question is, why'd you go with him? Like, why did you... like somebody grabs my arm and I start screaming.
In that moment, Your Honor, I don't know. I think I just couldn't process what was happening. I was just kind of thrown off by the whole thing. So I just went with him to the front. I honestly, in the back of my mind, was thinking that he wanted to talk to me about something that happened at school. Because we had
not if he's grabbing your arm and ushering you to the front of the store.
I mean, that's
right?
true.
And then at that point, you know that he's accusing you of stealing.
Yes.
And would the police ask you any questions before putting handcuffs on you?
Not really. They just kind of took his word for it.
Did they speak to the store?
I mean, they were talking to the cashier, but at that point, I was already handcuffed.
What, the cashier, I guess, had nothing to say.
She also looked equally confused.
Right.
So I was asking the police if I could get a better understanding of what was happening.
What ends up happening at the school after this?
So all of the students were talking about it. There was a meme going around that his daughter had created. So all of the students are kind of like being disrespectful and teasing me.
What did the meme say?
The meme says something to the effect of, this is the teacher that will teach you how to steal or something. Just very like, just humiliating. So it basically made me lose the trust of like the parents, the students, all of the teachers.
What about the school though? The school did you sit down and talk to the school? Did you tell them your side? In the end, the store didn't press charges, right?
No.
I mean, that must be why the police said, okay, go home, because, you know, the store made clear they weren't pressing charges. So did you sit down with the school and say, hey, the store didn't press charges, there's no evidence of this, and I want some support from you guys? Did you speak up to them, or you didn't get a chance, or they weren't receptive? What was the deal with the school?
The school wasn't really receptive because he's very active in the community, active in the school, so I think they just took his side and they just believed him, which I think is very unfair because I had been a teacher there for 6 years, but it's like they weren't even really willing to hear me out.
Were there any other problems there while you were there?
There were a few incidents where things came up missing and he just assumed that I was responsible.
What's going on here?
Well, Your Honor, it was over the course of several months while Miss Obie was still a teacher at our school that incidents just kept happening repeatedly that were in her presence, whether it was in her classroom, kids that would go to school with certain items from home, they'd come up missing. We did candy drives at school a few times, and not only myself, I submitted $400 in with my daughter Emma, and then suddenly when the accounting came around, they only had $300, and I was not the only parent that had a kid short of candy drive money.
Did you ever bring it up to the school?
No, we just talked about it amongst the parents and PTA.
Why are you all bringing, and the PTA didn't bring it up to the school?
Your Honor,
Not to
wait a
my
second,
knowledge.
hold on.
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. In hindsight, I wish we would have escalated and went right to the principal or superintendent or someone, and we should have made our suspicions known.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I took the blouse from out of her tote bag and put it on the counter because I was showing the employees there.
Well, how about you just keep your mouth shut and say, look at what's in her bag, instead of you taking it out?
Review Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Michelle Obie, who blames Curtis Alcott for her ruined reputation.
So what happens this day at the mall?
I was there shopping to get an item for my daughter and happened to notice her across the way at the store, and as I happened to glance, I witnessed her take the blouse from off the hanger and not just drape it over her arm as if she was continuing to shop the way she claims, but stuff it down into her tote bag.
All right, and what did you do when you saw that?
Wanting to do good and take care of my store owners that I know that own that store that are in my neighborhood, I walked right over to her. I did not grab her forcefully by the arm, but I guided her by the elbow and directed her to say, hey, we got to come up to the front of the store, Miss Obie. And
Because you actually said, citizens arrest, right? Like you said that.
I didn't actually say that out loud. No, I did not.
But you had learned about the concept of citizens arrest how?
I did. So I'm actually a court-appointed advocate for foster youth. And in one of our classes for the CASA for the foster care, we did learn about the ability to make citizens arrest in regards to caring for these kids that are in the foster system that need adults to be looking out for them at all times, and they're falling through the cracks. So
were you enthusiastic about using the concept you read about?
I was hoping that I might never have to use it, but knowing that it's out there, made me do feel empowered that, yeah, I do want to.
Did you actually say the word citizens arrest?
No, I don't believe. Well,
did he actually say the word citizens arrest?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, okay. So in any event, you guide her to the front and what?
And then I took the blouse from out of her tote bag and put it on the counter because I was showing the employees there.
Well, how about you just keep your mouth shut and say, look at what's in her bag instead of you taking it out? So you took it out and then what happened?
Then I showed it to the employees that were at the counter, and pretty much as that was happening is when the cops also arrived. So it was
How
a
did the cops even know to arrive? They just happened to be in the area?
No, I called them first because we were instructed in our citizens arrest in the class for the CASA that we should not just be vigilantes handling stuff out there on our own, but call the police.
So you called them, and you're not supposed to be vigilantes. Why don't you just call them and then talk to them? You called the police, and then you didn't give them a chance to do their jobs. You did it, right? You pulled it out of her purse, and then where did that case go? It went nowhere, right? So I'm assuming for a moment that you saw exactly what you say you saw, and then, it all went up in smoke. Did the school fire her, or did she quit because she didn't appreciate the pressure? How did that work?
She left on her own terms because she did not enjoy the fact that parents and students were making memes or comments.
Was your daughter?
Judgments.
How old's your daughter?
She's 13, Your Honor.
And she made a meme about a teacher? Listen, she's still a teacher, and there's still a modicum of respect that you should be insisting your child show, which includes not creating a meme. So what ends up happening? The school doesn't terminate you. You just decide I can't work here anymore, and you move to a different school district?
I moved to a different school district because I had lost the respect of everyone in the school, teachers and students included. So I had to go. I didn't have a choice. Right. And it was not by my own choice. I had to go.
No, the question is, did they fire you or did you quit?
No one forced you.
That's really what I was driving at. You are demanding $5,000 from him because you think he deliberately lied about what he felt he saw. So what would be the reason he would do that?
Viewers asked, and now Judge Milian has the answer.
My neighbor and I don't get along. He knows that I breed dogs in a kennel on the west end of my property, and he deliberately goes onto his property line close to mine and fires his gun at a target.
Wait.
It happens during the day, and a couple of my dogs have miscarried when they were breeding, and I think it's because of the gun. What can I do?
Look, you each have the right to your own property and to use it within the bounds of the law in a way that
if the laws there allow you to use
you have target practice in your backyard,
or fire a fire weapon, maybe it's a pellet gun or something, but they could be loud and it could be really scaring.
Yeah, I mean, still every town has their noise violation laws, but
and nuisance laws.
But it sounds to me like unless that is illegal conduct on their part, that you're going to need to move the kennel to the other side of your house.
Right. Try to find a way. The other thing is, well, what else could you do? I don't know. Put right up against the fence on his side of the yard, start raising bees, right? Just put beehives all the way down.
Why is your answer to everything bees?
Because you got to fight fire with fire. You got to zing them back, right? Come on, you got to give. He's going to get religion once he gets stung a few times.
I think maybe you just move the kennel to the other side.
I suppose, and you could bring like a nuisance suit potentially, right?
Well, it just depends. It depends if he's using his property in a way that is permitted by
consistent with laws.
Yeah,
and zoning
I don't think you're going to have any luck if he's doing something that's against the zoning laws or criminal laws. Then you will have luck. So you're going to have to, your first step is to call building and zoning and the county and the city and any regulators that would, the police. Although don't stop there because they don't always know what's permitted and not permitted from a zoning perspective.
Yeah, they might try to brush you off. Too.
Right. Yeah. So you should really be calling the city and filing your complaint and then just taking it from there.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that because you don't get along, you can't just say, "Hey, can you stop it?" And could you shoot over there because yours doesn't involve
brownies for them or something, that sort of
exactly.
Coming up,
Miss Obi is a good teacher. I want her to get better and not be a kleptomaniac anymore. I think she can still be.
Okay, don't call her a kleptomaniac. You have absolutely no evidence that she's a kleptomaniac.
Closed Cap Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Michelle Obi, who blames Curtis Alcott for her ruined reputation.
Is there something else going on?
Your Honor, I honestly think he's had it out for me since I started working at the school.
Why though?
I don't want to say that this is the case. I'm hoping that's not it, but I was the only teacher of my race working at the school. And his group of friends are all of his same race.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with all of the parents.
What about the racial makeup of the actual school?
60% are Caucasian and the others mixed.
Okay. All right. And they only have, how small is the school that they only have one teacher of color?
The school is only about 500 students.
Oh, okay. Is there ever anything overt that anyone ever said that made you feel that way?
Well, beside the snide remarks from the parents and just the treatment in general, I would say there was only one other incident that happened at the school where I felt like, okay, this might be a racially motivated situation. After the candy drive incident that he's referring to, one of the parents actually approached me and made a comment to the effect of, aren't they paying you enough? Why do you need to steal from students? Your Honor, I am a teacher.
But even that is not a, I mean, it might have been racially motivated, but that's not evidence of racial motivation.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I know
that's
what you
still
mean.
like, so there are a group of parents that really think that you are taking candy money from a baby. If a parent says, I sent 400, here's the form, it sent 400, and 300 turns up, where did that other 100 go? Or were you ever able to say, wait a second, your form says 300, you're wrong. Like, what happened with all that?
Coming up.
I should give you a chance to defend yourself. She suggested that this might be racially motivated. Is it?
Yeah. There's nothing more insulting that someone could say to me on the face of this earth.
Closed Cap for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Michelle Obi, who blames Curtis Alcott for her ruined reputation.
With that situation, I tried talking to Emma because I suspected that Emma took the money. She's a kid, you know? These things happen with middle schoolers.
So wait,
they're
so
young.
Emma comes up and so it is short $100.
It is.
Oh, I got it.
According to them. But on the form, I saw 300 written and 300 is what was given.
Okay, so that's a difference. And then that's not Emma took it, that's nobody took it, and the parent is wrong. So which of those is it? That's what I'm trying to get at.
The parent is wrong in this situation because what Emma gave me and what was on the form said 300. So he's telling me that it was 400 that he sent her to school with, but I can't confirm that because what I saw was 300.
Well, did you show him the form and show him that it only said 300?
At that point, I had already submitted the form to the committee that does it.
Yeah, but the school has a form, and then there's a reason to pull it back. If he's complaining to you and saying something to you, then defend yourself and show him you're wrong. This is what the form says. What's the problem we're having here? Is there something else going on? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. That's true.
Right. You got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I have no idea what actually happened.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have. When you come into court as the plaintiff, you have the burden of proof. And that means you have to prove to me, not beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt like a criminal case, but by a preponderance of evidence, what he says happened didn't happen. I am not saying that what he says happened. I have no idea. So I hear your testimony and I hear his testimony. You know, I should give you a chance to defend yourself. She suggested that this might be racially motivated. Is it?
Yeah. And there's nothing more insulting that someone could say to me on the face of this earth because as I'm involved with the foster care system, I help Kids of every single color find homes, just like me. I was a product of the foster care system.
Okay.
I was adopted. I got lucky. That's how much I care about our school and every single student in there, no matter what color they are.
Judge Million's verdict when justice for the people returns. Promotion Judge Million.
Miss Obi is a good teacher. I want her to get better and not be a kleptomaniac anymore. I think she can still be.
Okay, don't call her a kleptomaniac. You have absolutely no evidence that she's a kleptomaniac. The best you've got is that you saw her steal once. Everything else that you guys have, nobody bothered to dig in to figure out. That the rest of it's all innuendo.
I mean,
all
I don't
right,
have
based
time to
on
be an
what? Stop.
investigator.
Everybody, just stop. Listen, I have to rule on the case in front of me. And that means that I have to decide whether you have proven by a preponderance of the evidence that this man needs to shell out $5,000 to you because he's defamed you, which means that he said something that wasn't true and he knew it wasn't true. I can't do that on the evidence I have in front of me. I have no idea what happened that day, and it doesn't matter to me. I have to decide if you have proven by a preponderance of the evidence that he defamed you, which means he lied on purpose, which I can't find in this case. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant, and I wish you all luck.
All rise.
Judge Million has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
You need to get all your facts straight before you judge somebody.
Well, and I hope that you do well in your new community, and I hope you can be a good teacher without any more.
Chào tất cả các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã quay lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ cùng nhà tiếp tục đến với lại bài số 5, gia đình của em trong sách lớp 1 đạo đức nhé. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau khám phá một bức tranh và sau đó chúng ta cùng trả lời câu hỏi gia đình bạn nhỏ gồm những ai. Đây là một bức tranh với cảnh gia đình rất chi là đầm ấm như thế nào. Trong gia đình của bạn nhỏ có ông bà, bố mẹ, em gái và bạn ý đến nào. Bạn ý đi học về này. Chào ông, chào bà. Và em bé nhỏ đã mang bánh và chào bố mẹ đấy. Vì sao cần có một gia đình? Vì sao cần có một gia đình nhỉ? Gia đình là nơi để yêu thương, để chúng ta có thể về nhà sau mỗi ngày học tập vất vả, mệt nhọc cũng như là đi làm mệt mỏi về, để tất cả có thể quây quần lại bên nhau và cùng nhau chia sẻ những niềm vui, đúng không nào? Ở đây chúng ta có một gì nhỉ? 4 bức tranh. 4 bức tranh nó liên quan đến một câu chuyện về bạn thỏ con. Thỏ con rất là nghịch ngợm, mải chơi, mẹ mắng thỏ con nó dỗi thì bỏ đi. Sau đó thì thỏ đi mãi, thỏ gặp chó sói đuổi, thỏ bị đói bụng, không có gì để ăn. Và thỏ mẹ đã đi tìm thỏ con. Thật may mắn khi thỏ mẹ đã tìm được thỏ con đấy các bạn ạ. Chính vì vậy nên thỏ con đã rất là hối hận xin lỗi mẹ và hứa là lần sau sẽ nghe lời mẹ, quay về với gia đình yêu thương của mình đấy. Chúng ta sẽ phải trả lời các câu hỏi như sau. Khi lạc nhà, thỏ con gặp điều gì? Thiếu sự quan tâm chăm sóc của người thân thì điều gì sẽ xảy ra? Bạn đã nhận được sự quan tâm chăm sóc của người thân như thế nào? Rồi, các bạn sẽ trả lời những câu hỏi này nhé.